Hey guys, how are you? So here we go again. Just when we thought it was dying down, the riots are now back with a vengeance. And, since the beginning of this channel, we've been talking about the riots and the rioting and protests and things like that a lot. And because of that, and doing research for these videos, I've probably watched hours and hours and hours of footage everywhere from Portland to Seattle, Los Angeles, Washington, D.C., New York, Dallas, Kenosha, Minneapolis, Chicago, just to name a few. And I've seen people pass away. I've seen people get the crap beat out of them in the middle of the street. I've seen people get in fights. I've seen looting, buildings set on fire, cars set on fire, cars attacked. And I will say some of the images that came out of Philly for the past few nights have been probably some of the most aggressive looting that I've seen. And this all started because of a 27-year-old man that was fatally shot by police. Now, the 27-year-old man, the cops were called on him for a domestic violence dispute. I believe, I could be wrong, but the important thing is he had a knife and he was resisting arrest and going towards police officers with a knife. And they shot the man, and unfortunately he is dead. So this is why the rioting happened, and we've seen this in several cities now. I believe Lancaster, there was rioting because an armed man with a knife, what I said in my video, the size of my arm, charged at police officers, I believe about a month or a month and a half ago. So there was protesting and rioting in Lancaster. In Chicago, there was a man who he was a murder suspect, and when police were approaching him, he actually shot and killed himself. And because of that, people were rioting and looting, and that was one of the worst nights in Chicago. So this has happened several times where armed people are going after police officers, or the police officers have nothing to do with the death, and yet the police are being blamed, and then mass rioting and looting is breaking out. So last night in Chicago, I believe it was somewhere around 1,000 to 2,000 looters, and I think a few block radius of West Philadelphia. The cops were completely overwhelmed, in some cases completely retreated. I believe they said National Guard was called in, but every journalist I follow said that they didn't see any National Guard. From all the footage I watched from last night, there was no National Guard. They were just police officers, and they were completely overwhelmed, at sometimes completely retreating. And it was, as described by one journalist, basically a game of whack-a-mole. So they would go and mass loot one store. Let's use Walmart, for example. That's one of the stores they were looting. They would go and loot Walmart. Cops would show up. They would all run out, go to a different store. And then when cops left that area, they would go back. And this was happening basically all night. They even looted a Chick-fil-A. That's pretty. I don't know what you take from Chick-fil-A. Maybe the soda machine? Nothing's cooked. Frozen fries? They do have good waffle fries. But in this video, I want to talk about a little bit of what happened last night, and then some of the rhetoric that's still being pushed in the media, which is pretty concerning, and then some of the reactions from people on the left. And I'll show you a few short clips of some of the footage that came out of last night. But before I do that, I would like to give honorable mention to this gentleman, and I'm only doing this just to lighten the mood a little bit because sometimes these subjects are not fun to talk about. But I was watching Hannity last night, and this man graced the screen. So this was, that's the hand of a reporter, and you can see that this man who was looting the Walmart in West Philadelphia came prepared with a dolly and took a washing machine. So he gets honorable mention. Now we'll go into a few short clips of some of the things that happened last night. The first clip I found really interesting. This looks like it's a small boutique, and you can see that two girls go in there originally, but it will show just how fast it escalated into just absolute craziness. The next video was it just kind of shows the chaos of everything. A car ramming into a truck, and then the driver having to get out of the truck and run away. The third little clip I'm going to show you is of a journalist that I follow named Elijah Schaefer, and he was on the ground during this and actually got jumped while he was doing some reporting and filming in the Walmart. And you can see, I'm not going to show you that actual instance, but you'll see the aftermath and what they did to him, and he still continued to report on this. He also has an interview that he did on Blaze TV talking about his experience. If you want to know more about what happened last night and his perspective, I found it really interesting. So I'll link that below. But let's watch those clips really fast. I'm going to flip over my camera and show you my Twitter. So we'll watch those and then chat.
I hope we do not get caught in this bitch. Bro, here's what you want to do.
Just don't move for right now, or we're gonna try to stop this. Just stay right here. Stay right here. We don't do it on the
So as you can see, it's kind of hard for me to talk right now because I got jumped inside of a Five Below that's currently being ransacked and completely looted. As you see to my left right here, this is an Eye Encounters store. We have an amazing nail spa, and also right over here, there's a Walmart that's been completely gutted. We are here across the river in Philadelphia.
So you can see from those videos just how chaotic it was. I believe it was, I think I'm repeating myself, but 1,000 to 2,000 looters. Cops were completely overwhelmed. A female officer was run over during all of this. She had her leg broken. 11 people were shot, including a 15-year-old girl. Now, if you look at that footage from Elijah at the end of the clips that I showed you, what's really scary about that is he was actually in the same location that the 15-year-old girl was shot. So that's just showing you how dangerous the situation was. Do I have any? 30 officers injured, over 30 businesses were looted. And it was so chaotic that the people that were doing the shooting, looters were shooting looters. So this article came out in the Daily Wire. I'm just going to read you a bit of that just to kind of, again, just give you a picture of how chaotic this was. So this is a little piece from that article. 11 people shot while looting in Philadelphia so far since last night. Looters were shooting looters. 50-year-old man that had his car filled when was carjacked and had all his stolen stuff restolen from him. So this man went and looted and took a bunch of stuff, filled his car up, and then he was robbed. That's how chaotic it was. But what's even more concerning about all of this is I'm going to play you a little clip of a reporter asking Joe Biden a question today, and I want you to try to listen to what she's saying. If you can't, I'll repeat it for you. It was a little quiet, but let's look at that.
Well, we just voted, and Jill's off to do an interview, but thanks for taking the time to cover it, and as we are.
Mr. President, the shooting in Philadelphia, what do you say to Philadelphia residents that are outraged by yet another unarmed black man being shot by police?
What I say is that there is no excuse whatsoever for the looting and the violence, none whatsoever. I think to be able to protest is totally legitimate, it's totally reasonable, but I think that the looting is just, as the victim's father said, do not do this. It's not what my son, you're not helping, you're hurting, you're not helping my son. And there are certain things we're going to have to do as we move along, and I know the local folks in Philadelphia are thinking about it as well.
Did you hear what she said? She said, unarmed man. This is a reporter asking the vice president, the presidential nominee of the United States of America. This is a reporter who is that high caliber that she gets to ask him a question, and she's referring to this as an unarmed man. He had a knife and he was going towards police officers. okay, they probably could have run away, but the man had a knife and was being called for violence and there were people around. I guess officers are just supposed to be sacrificial lambs. Now, there is some controversy because the officers didn't have tasers and they're saying they could have tased her. But again, I don't think that is the fault of the officers that are there. They went there to try to help, to try to save people. They went into danger, not going away from danger. And, you know, anytime you go towards a police officer with a knife, that is just not a good idea. And this is what just drives me crazy, that we are still pushing this unarmed narrative and we're still not having compliance be a part of the conversation. If you are not compliant with police officers, you are putting yourself and that police officer in more danger and are creating an environment for stuff like this to happen. It is just not a good idea. We just talked about this in one of my other videos. But let's move along. So this guy, Eric Lipton from the New York Times, tweeted this today. Was this today? Yes, it was today. October 28th is today, just to be sure. He said, watching my Twitter feed since last night, very notable and let's repeat that. Watching my Twitter feed since last night, very notable the intensity of tweets from conservative voices looking to amplify / draw attention to the looting in Philadelphia. Yes, it happened. New York Times covered it as well. Just remarkable how conservatives want to elevate it. I'm pretty sure I follow just about almost every conservative commentator that there is. I'm sure I'm missing a few and I don't know all of them, but I was watching everyone live on the scene and all I saw were people just reporting on what happened. There wasn't sensationalism. There doesn't have to be when it's that out of control. They're just showing you what happened, which is the job of a reporter. And the interesting thing about this too is this is the type of person, the same person that will say something like this is the same person that will tell you that you need to be afraid of QAnon and the Proud Boys. QAnon, which is an online conspiracy theorist group, and the Proud Boys, have you heard of any violence coming from them? Maybe a few things a long time ago, but these people are actually burning down cities, and we're being told that we need to be afraid of QAnon and the Proud Boys, and that if we simply just point out what's going on in Philadelphia, now what is it? You're trying to elevate the danger and the destruction. No, actually, you don't have to elevate it. It's just there. Sorry. But yes, this is someone that works for the New York Times. And I'm almost done, but I want to show you one more thing. So this was a tweet that came out by Jack, I don't know how to say his last name, Posobiec. I don't know, but that is his Twitter. You can see how he spells it. Breaking, Trump supporters to hold car parade today in Philadelphia, 5 p.m. starting at Franklin Mills. So they are going to be having a Trump parade going through some of these areas as sort of a counter protest or to show their support for law and order and the president. So we will see how that goes. Hopefully everything is calm. The police were just completely overwhelmed last night, and that I don't know, there was a police officer that commented on one of my last videos. I don't know if you're watching this or if you watch anything else, but please comment on this. You know, I actually experienced the rioting here in LA on May 30th, and the very next day we had the National Guard out. All of our streets were just lined with police officers. We had extra help. There were police and National Guard, I'm not joking you, on every single corner. Actually, this is... I'll play you some footage. So I was just going for a walk in my neighborhood, and that's how guarded we were. We had National Guard on the roof just guarding. And you can actually see, too, they were waving to people. The residents were happy to see them. They were here to protect us and to protect our businesses and to protect our neighborhood. So we were all happy to see them. We were all happy to see the officers. You know, and I live in a very diverse, very liberal area, but we value safety and we value our businesses and each other and law and order. So I don't know what happened with the police. Maybe that's something to look into, but they were completely overwhelmed and didn't seem to have a lot of help or a lot of backup there. And because of that, the city was just in chaos last night. But let me know your thoughts. You guys have a good day. Bye.